morning, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. I like today's reading because it has a little floral flavor to it in addition to recovery and positivity. So my stars have aligned in one reading, I guess. It starts with this quote from Karen W. Why pick thorns when you can pick roses? See, there it is. We've all known unhappy souls who seem to spend their whole lives collecting insults, searching for proof that the world is a terrible place. What did he mean by that? They wonder suspiciously. Expecting the worst, that's usually just what they find. Bad things happen, but sometimes positive can be found in almost every situation. Sometimes it takes close looking, but if it's there and we're willing to apply faith, time, and elbow grease. But it's there if we're willing to. Jeez. Life is like a jigsaw puzzle. We only see one little piece at a time. Who knows what wondrous things may come from today's misfortune? Mold growing in a pan of water turned out to be penicillin. A drug invented for use in dentistry was found to control schizophrenia. And the same rain that ruins our shoes grows our food. Unhappiness, misery, insult, death, and destruction come to us all. But so do goodness, beauty, decency, love, and comfort. We find what we look for. Today, help me be patient with bad news and annoyance. Help me pick the roses instead of the thorns. So relevant right now, right? COVID, we can be looking at it as an opportunity or a nuisance as far as the quarantine and stuff. And I think that a lot of the world is going to break free starting, well, they're talking about New York opening tomorrow. I keep waiting for them to push it back, or I keep thinking that might happen, but that hasn't happened yet. So anyway, being on lockdown, is there positives to that? And if you've been listening, you know that I've been grateful for being in quarantine, or, not really going out so that I could work on my classwork and take care of Bobby stuff. I want to say it's more free time, but I also see the positive that I think there's going to be a lot of change in the world after, for the best. I think that people are going to redefine how they're thinking. I was talking to one of my vendors down in Florida the other day, and he was curious to see how his office was going to handle it. His boss was having a meeting that day, and he's like, yeah, he goes, I could see working from home a couple days a week. And we got in the conversation of, well, if we do, I said, if just even a quarter of the population that has worked from home now could stay working from home on some part of time, what kind of impact would that have on our planet, saving all that fuel? And it's just so simple. And I don't know what those numbers would turn out to be, but that's a positive and a negative. But as far as gambling goes, and the situations, since we're talking about relapse at night or symptoms of relapse at the night, this is one of those things, this being positive and trying to find the bright side of things, I think helps us avoid the symptoms of relapse, right? If we're being positive, we're not trying to necessarily drown out whatever's driving us to bet. Before I knew anything about recovery or thinking positively versus negatively, on such a level where I'm at now, where I research it and really try to evolve my behavior around it, I can remember thinking, and it's funny, whether I was in a good place or a bad place, the thinking changes. I can remember thinking that getting a flat tire, I'd gotten a flat tire one Mother's Day morning. I was supposed to go out and make deliveries, and my car was only April 15th to May. It was a month old, and I go out to find this flat tire. And it was, obviously it's frustrating. You want to be out early, have a good day, whatever. Well, this could set the tone And instead, one of my mentalities for getting stuck in traffic or having a flat tire or something going on to where I don't get going as soon as I would like, or I don't arrive somewhere, if I'm not ahead of schedule, when something interrupts that, my go-to is, okay, well, maybe I wasn't supposed to be at that location in my journey at a certain spot. Maybe there was an accident, or maybe if I was there, I would have been in an accident. Maybe the universe just saved my life and I don't even know it. It's kind of abstract and wild, but if you can use your imagination to think that way, like, okay, this didn't happen because maybe something worse was going to happen. It's not horrible to be late. It's horrible to be dead. Are you able to look at, past relationships as growing experiences or learning, or find the positives? What about losing your job? I always get, I don't want to say I get excited, but I'm always very compelled to when somebody says they lose a job and they're, frustrated or sad or see the negative of it. I know that losing your job, I believe. Now I know because it happened to me and I've seen it happen to so many people. I believe that we lose our jobs for a reason, and that what happens next is usually better. And I've lived it, and I've watched different folks experience it. So if we can reframe it as a what comes next and be positive about it, it's crazy what we can experience and how we could feel on the inside by finding the positive. When, our tagline is positivity is no gamble, because I haven't found a negative yet or a consequence to having a positive mindset. I really haven't. And I believe that, things are happening the way they're supposed to happen. And it could become kind of a game if you try to find the positive in different circumstances, especially if we didn't get our way. We're addicts, right? Don't we want to get our way? I know I do. I like getting my way. But, I wanted to grow up to be a vice president, and I didn't become a vice president, at least not in, the way I wanted to do it. There's still hope for me, obviously, but I think that the reason I didn't was to give me a different set of skills for part 2 of Bobby's life. That's the way I feel about it now. Not 10 years ago when I was in the throes of it, waking up, breathing it, feeling entitled to it, all my addict perspective on it. I wasn't meant to be a vice president, at least not in grocery worlds. I guess I was meant to be closer to my frontline people, and that's okay. That must be where I was needed. That was one of my strengths, was representing the people in the stores. It was one of the things that I was the most passionate about. So it was great that I didn't get promoted, that's the way I have to look at it. Otherwise, what happens if I don't? And I could remember solving this problem a few of these ways, but getting angry and miserable and frustrated. Oh, wait a minute. That probably led me to the casino. Oh, it did. Getting passive aggressive, all the symptoms that we're talking about at night were symptoms I exhibited during the frustration of my career. And I'm not saying my career made me gamble or drink or whatever, but I used it as an excuse to do those things. And when I didn't get my way, I can remember, and I'm not proud of this, but I didn't get, everybody thought I was a shoo-in for this one job. Everybody. And I didn't get it, and I had felt so betrayed. I had already gone out and I bought new clothes, and I just had the mindset it was my job. It didn't make any sense to me that it wouldn't be. And like I said, it wasn't. And I was furious at the decision maker. And eventually what happened was I got a different job that I totally didn't even think about wanting. And it just put me on a different path, and it was better, I guess, long term. It helped propel me to, the next level and help give me some other aspects. Anyway, I'm not trying to make it about my career. I'm just trying to show you it could start out negative, but there's usually a positive behind it. And just sometimes we can't see it. We generally can't see it in the moment. I'm asking you to think about making it a game. So see if you can twist it around. If you're seeing something negative, try to find a positive. Okay, I think I have a good gambling example. So let's say that we were expecting money. And I say this because I'm in this case right now and I know someone else is. So I'm expecting money and it doesn't come when I want it to, which was like a month ago. So it doesn't come. I don't have it. There's, like I said, there's some other people that I know are in this situation too. Well, is it a positive or a negative that I don't have the money? Well, I think it's a positive because, well, I don't really think it's a positive 100%. Like it could be a positive or it could be a negative. The positive spin I'm putting on it is maybe I just don't need to have access to it now. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe I need the money later, and if it isn't here now, I won't spend it. Or who knows, maybe I shouldn't have access to it, and this could be the case, right? If I had access to it, maybe because we're in the middle of this situation, and maybe if I had a bad day, or maybe the feelings I was feeling last week, if I had access to the money, maybe it would have led to a bet. So the positive is it isn't there, and I can't get in trouble. So that's how I would reframe it. I've seen some other folks that are waiting for money, and it's tearing up their souls, like tearing up their souls, can't function. And it's just money. Like it's just money. As long as we got, a roof over our head and food, it's really just money. And I know it's easy to say as someone who has a job, right now. I'm not discounting that, but it's seriously, as long as we're living, I think that's a positive. We're not dead. We're not in jail. We're just waiting for money. So that's my perspective for the day. I will tell you that I had about 6 or 7 technical difficulties. I had to record this a couple times between me fighting with my computer and I couldn't figure something out. So that could have been a negative, but the positive is I must have been meant to say whatever I said this time around instead of the first couple takes. So that's how I'm spinning that. All right, beautiful people, have an amazing day.